This is Prodder on politics, or political Prodder, depending on how you look at the site. This is me with my opinions on the political situations of the day. This is not necessarily election related. This is Iran. I'm an Israeli, dual citizenship, Israeli American. I work in America. I'm recording in Missouri right now. And I just had this sudden analysis hit my head of what's been wrong with Iran policy for quite some time and how I would change it in order to make the Iranians understand their limitations and to avoid the problems in the Middle East, because the problems in the Middle East are really the Americans' fault because they've given the Iranians mixed signals. I saw a documentary recently that showed connections between drug smuggling in South America, the cartel, and Hezbollah. There was an investigation going on in the later years of the Obama administration that was going to crack it in Europe. And suddenly these nuclear negotiations came out, and the idea of pacifying Iran and giving them back their money that had been seized, some of it seized back during the hostage crisis of 1979, took precedence. And the Obama administration just decided that the investigation of Hezbollah for drug trafficking, which was ready to break Hezbollah's financial network and possibly destroy the group's ability to finance itself, since at that point they were more self-financed than they are today. And the Obama administration just said, "Oh no, we're just going to make this go away. We're going to make the investigation disappear." I can provide you. I'm sure someone's going to get my first comment is going to be, "Well, can you provide me a link to that?" It's a YouTube video from a credible source. I will provide the video upon request. But basically, the policy toward Iran since for the entire Obama administration was appeasement. We don't want you to build a nuke. We're willing to pay you off to build a nuke. We're willing to pay you off to delay you building a nuke. And if you take American hostages, we'll cough up some of your seized assets every time in the release deal for the American hostages. This sets a very bad precedent. A very, 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 very bad precedent. I would like to propose a new American policy. And it's pretty basically very simple. Financial sanctions and the threat of intervention with a aircraft carrier task force composed of at least one aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf or Mediterranean at all times. Policy demand number one of the Iranians: financial sanctions until they stop all the other items that they're doing. That means no more weapons to Hezbollah. That means no more financing to Hezbollah. Hezbollah gets left on its own, no Iranian support, no weapon shipments, no interventions, nothing. Gradually increasing sanctions and the threat of armed intervention if Iran does not comply. The Gaza and Hamas funding, same basic deal. Any Iranian weapons found by the IDF in its incursions into Gaza will be seized, and there will be financial penalties and increasing sanction against the Iranian government. Yes, this is basically a Trump policy with a little mental organization, since the man is a scatterbrain. It's a good policy. It's better than the Biden policy. It's better than what Harris has advocated up to this point. Hamas is going to get crushed. Also, the American policy is Israel will control the Philadelphia corridor, the border between Egypt and Gaza, and they will stop all arms shipments into Gaza. No weapons, no bullets, no nothing that can hurt somebody. Food shipments, on the other hand, wide open. Yes, inspected heavily, but we want to make sure that nobody goes hungry in Gaza. It's important, and it's a bad look, and it's not the Jewish thing to do, is to have people starving in Gaza. Now, the reason people are starving in Gaza now is because Hamas is stealing the food. We'll be direct. But the bottom line is the Americans, all weapons from Iran must stop, and the penalties must be increasing, including seizure, permanent seizure of assets, if the American policy is not complied with. Same thing applies to the Houthis in Yemen. No weapons, no arms, no aid, not a bullet. Violation is the same penalties. And if we catch you violating these bans on these importations, you're risking armed intervention from the United States coordinated with Israel. This is a new policy. Now, there are armed groups that are trying to undermine Jordan. Same thing. No Iranian weapons allowed in Jordan. No aid. Any evidence increases the sanction and risks asset seizure. Iraq, tougher egg to crack because there's still American forces there. Same basic policy. All Iranian aid to Iraq ends. If they comply with this, we will gradually take down the sanctions and we will begin open trade with them. Nuclear program must remain shut down. Most important thing, no development, no exceptions, no civilian program until they run out of oil. Yeah, that's a tough one, and that may not be even legal. But the bottom line is we have to be tough with Iran. If they violate the sanctions, they violate a clear policy statement and write it down in bullet point English so they can understand it, then we hit them hard, we threaten them, and we can increase the pain of the financial sanctions and the possibility of threats against them continue. They are not allowed to intimidate their neighbors. They are not allowed to make aggressive actions toward Pakistan, which is something of a American ally. They're not allowed to even screw around with the Taliban. Iran, if they want isolation, if they want the sanctions to come down and they want it to be normal, they have to stop all actions against U.S. allies. Israel, Egypt, Yemen. Stop support for Syria. No more supporting genocide in Syria. Lebanon, no money, no arms, no nothing. Let the Lebanese work it out between themselves. Without money, Hezbollah will have to resort to drug running again and supporting the cartels and that financial network, and that will give the United States an excuse to start doing sanctions against Hezbollah for their own actions. Hezbollah is a Lebanese organization, but they can't have aid from Iran to go against Israel. Cross-border attacks from Lebanon to Israel will result in heavy sanctions, possible American intervention. Would this work? Yes, it would work. It worked under President Trump. It was one of the more effective foreign policies and more organized foreign policies under President Trump, in spite of his scatterbrained approach to most things foreign policy. He had a hard-on for Iran. It's the right thing to do. If you like this content, please hit the subscribe button. Please make comments. I will answer any comments if I get any comments besides my wife's. I hope I maintained a better diction and point and voice control. I realized that when I was talking fast, I was sometimes swallowing my words a little bit. I sounded much more professional in the recording that aired today. This is recorded August 12th. It's set to air early morning, August 13th. Thank you for listening.